I'm here to talk about the other section of the books that I didn't mention before. There was probably about 5 books that I mentioned. So I know I talked about, let me see here. I'm in the bookshelf here. I didn't have a good day at the gym. I just came from the gym and I didn't have a good day there. So, and I usually come here and do a couple of more things and go ahead and post it. Um, I had a good workout, but it was not too much of a good day that I usually would have. I know I talked about Invisible Black, Paka, which is the language book part of it, the Giddy Land, um, the Muted While Giddy Auntie, Blackie. I talked about Blackie. So today we're going to talk about the Sea Monster, and the book is based off of. The Sea Monster is based off of. It's based off of 2 books. Before I did talk about Mistletoe Love, Missy Hollies, and I said it was like a Christmas book. It's an urban type of book, updated, modern Christmas type of book. You can't tell that we're talking about Christmas on there. I'm talking about Christmas, but it is. That's what I based it off of. And the Sea Monster is based off of that. The Sea Monster is spelled correctly. I know some people are like, okay, why didn't she spell it S-E-A? It's S-E-E because I really do mean sea. He, the Sea Monster. It's this guy on there named Harold. He sees everything. He throws all those parties. He knows everybody's business. He has those big old eyes, and for some reason when you're doing something you don't want somebody to know, you look up and there he go. He see it. He see everything. And then you have the language book is more, you could tell is even more fantasy like. That one has the actual sea monster in the ocean, and that sea monster sees and admires certain things out there, and then one thing about sea monsters is if somebody's able to see something that they didn't see, that they go haywire with it. Oh, you saw something before me. So that's what that one is about with the He the Sea Monster. He the Sea Monster is a very fun book. It really gets a point across about with that. My favorite book out of all these books, my favorite book is Bobby versus Bobby, Doppelganger book. That's my favorite one. Oh my gosh, I put my foot into that one. I really did. That book, I can relate to that book. It's talking about a guy, but I really can relate to that one. That one teaches some things that someone can go through, as a young child and growing up and learning some things and so forth. And you never know what some people don't know. You be thinking certain people know some things and they actually don't. There are some people call it naive. I hate to say that word, naive. It's just that they haven't been exposed to certain things, so they don't know how to take certain things, and then they learn, and then they go from there. Is what Bobby versus Bobby is about with that. And then some other things on there that are pretty good. It also talks about karma, of course. I always try to fit some karma into these books and what happens. I try to even put some true karmas on there if I can. Like if I seen something that happened, it could be somebody I don't even know their name. They don't even know me, but I saw their karma. Oh my gosh, karma really does come around. I've seen karma happen to some people. They want to be your enemy, and they do something to you, and some karma happened to them. You sitting there thinking, man, I wouldn't want that to happen to my own enemy. Oh my gosh. God is not playing around to teach some lessons, because that's why I try to be as nice as I can to people. I try not to do anything crazy at all, to people. And if I do, and I know I did, I make sure I apologize, because I seen karma, and karma ain't no joke. Karma ain't no joke. I guarantee I'm probably going to do some type of karma of something, of what I did right now. I can imagine what it is, and I am truly sorry. And I don't mind saying I apologizing. So Rakosi's Rock House, I had to have talked about that one. That is about Rakosi. He's older. He has a career and everything. He's a mama's boy. He's a TT's boy. And he still is attached. And even though he's, had women around him all his life, he just, for some reason, he's not responding right to, a majority of women out there. And he's teaching some lessons, as he hopefully is learning some lessons out there. So, very important to have a daddy figure, a dad in your life, and some brothers, some uncles that can show you your part in that situation. I still say it's still important to have women in your life too, so you can understand the feelings of women, or so forth, and why women think the way we do, why we think the way we do, but that's what Rakosi is going through, and he goes through his collection of women, all right, and his karmas. You got the detective book that's actually based off of that book. I took a section off of that book, the innocent sections off of that book, and made it to the fun part of a detective overhearing some parasocial, some people out there that's really into, it's actually a bird, a parrot, a parrot type crow, that's usually in a certain part of the world. And that bird repeats stuff over and over again, like some people do, and may mix some things up, and a detective listening to it like, wait, what's going on? No, let me go see for myself, which is the best thing to do. Instead of just hearing things and then this, assuming. Sometimes it's best to just go see for yourself. Go talk to the person yourself, or just leave it alone and stay out of it. Because if you're not there and you're getting all these mixed up phrases and so forth, it's not even worth it. Just let it go. Anybody will say anything. You got enemies out there of people saying things about people. They don't want them. They're not saying anything positive about the person. They're saying the negative stuff that they made up or took parts of somethings, or just only the negative part. You don't hear them say anything positive and good that the person did, So that's what that's on. And then also there's a book I didn't mention. It's called Royal During Twilight. That book speaks on what some people, you never know, whether they're rich or not, royalty or not, could be doing after dark, and you wouldn't think that they would do that. And if you don't know a person, especially if you haven't met their family, their friends, they can give you any type of character for you to believe, that they are. And you're just going through it, you're going with it, because you haven't met anybody, And that's the thing, say you're dating someone and you're really not being introduced to their family, their friends, and so forth. I say that's not a good idea. If you're really trying to be in a relationship, you really need to push the issue. Hey, I want to meet your family. Oh, I don't have any family. I was a foster child. No. It's really important to find out for yourself, who this person really is, because they can have you believing there's something that they're really not, and they're doing some things that that's really not them, or they can be giving you their dark side in the dark that they wouldn't give someone else, and have you all messed up because you get the dark side of it, and then you don't know who you're telling on. You don't even know the real name, and it's not good to be going through a whole bunch of people. No way. You get nothing out of it, but nothing out of it but bad stuff. So that's what Roar During Twilight is about. Her character on there, her name is Twyla. She's put in the dark so much she don't even, I mean, really don't even know her own name, don't even know her real family, don't even know nothing. I mean, a whole nother level of being put in naive, because she don't know where to start, what's going on, and so forth. Stink. I think I didn't talk about that one. That one been out before the other ones I talked about. Stink is about a woman, almost like He the Sea Monster. That one woman that knows everybody business. She's always there. She's always there while something is going on, and she's really good at not bringing it up, like she's trained and signed some type of contract or what. And she's that one person you don't want to sit and try to tell a tale to. She already know if you're lying, because she was there and you don't even know she was there. You probably was drunk or something. It was a whole bunch of people. She don't saw something embarrassing happen to you, and here you are in her face telling her this and that, and making yourself sound all innocent stuff. She already know your business. Type of person that's sometimes annoying to have around, and she ain't gonna tell you nothing, so there's no use of thinking you finna get some gossip out of her. But she's always there. She's always at them parties, she's always at them get-togethers, and guess what, she experienced what some people experienced already too, being drunk and then waking up and don't know what happened to you. So yeah, it also talks about someone having a kid and actually don't know who their kid father is, because she was, under the influence. And she actually didn't find out until she was older. I don't want to tell the book, but that's the fun, juicy part about that, about Stink and the whole stinky business. All right. The Unremorsefully Special. That book is, now I don't know about other states, but there are some states where, in some cities, where they specialize in helping people who are mentally unstable, mentally ill, mentally challenged, different ways of saying it, and they have help for that. Now I want to speak about the depression part. Depression is usually temporary. Someone can be overly sad if they don't have the support and things that they need. Like, say for instance, they can't take a shower. They don't have a place to take a shower. They're staying with someone to where there's a whole bunch of people in the house. You can already be sad from that. Your hygiene, and it's hard to, and then you already don't know certain things that others would know, Like, I know, like, if you don't have a place to stay or a good place to stay, it's really good to try to get that gym membership. Go to the gyms. That'll also cheer you up, and you're able to use their showers. That would help come out of that depression, a little bit, And then getting some sun is very important. So you'll have somebody that do have a house, sitting in the house all the time, and they're wondering why they're so sad. Get out and get some sun. It's very important to get that sun, touching your skin and giving you that vitamin D. That is what we, especially when we dark, we need more of that vitamin D. That sun, that's what we're made for. And then you have anxiety and so forth. That really does happen. I'm not saying that I don't believe in diagnosis. Yes, there are mentally challenged, but you have someone that's been having nightmares, and someone jacking them up ever since they were young, or in a relationship to where you're in a domestic violence relationship. You're jumping around, you're scared and stuff. You don't want to be in the dark. All types of stuff anxiety can mean. And then you have some heavy diagnosis. But whatever the case may be, we do have communities at places that really specialize in that, because you have a lot of that. And that's usually in places where it's very crowded, and not to say it's hard to find a job, is you people, their minds all messed up, because times it's hard. They losing family members from being murdered or suicide and so forth. So you're going to have some communities like that to help. It's hard to be able to cope if you just lost your mama, you lost your best friend, you lost your other best friend, you lost that one friend, you've lost your enemy, you're upset about that too, and so forth. It's hard to function with that. Upset, need time to grieve, and then there's that depression with that also. So that's a little part of that. Unremorsefully special. Unremorsefully special. You're special for a reason. Broken illusion. Broken illusion. That tells about twin brothers, and one of them is a mama's boy. It's an adorable story. To me, it's an adorable story. But it tells about their life in Chicago, and how they try to make it, even through the gunfires and so forth. And it also speaks on how you'd be surprised. There are, I don't want to say children, but you're a son or a daughter that get high with their parent, and they're used to it, and they go off into another world together, and it's not normal to the outside. So you do have kids that'll be taken because it's not supposed to be in, or you get to the adult age to where you just, you're sitting there and you're getting high with your parent and stuff, and other people, just used to it too, because sometimes they do. Well, that's what that part is about with that. So you're doing dirt. If you do have a parent that's into that, some people say you are what your parents are. That's what that speaks on. And then you have the other twin that's not really into that. Not a mama's boy. He's not trying to do what mama do and stuff. He wants to break and be his own self, but he still gets led into some things. But either way, you know how the sons are. They have their mama's back to the fullest. So that's how I'll explain that. That's how I explain that part. Mutual agreement. Mutual agreement. I actually wrote that book back in quite a few of them I did write back in 2012, 2013. And then put them away, and then I started back up slowly but surely. Mutual agreement. That book was at first based off a true story. I went in there and changed it big time to make it not a true story. I did. I promise. I did. I changed it. And I took a whole bunch of juicy stuff off there. Now, I have the juicy part. I have the stuff to where it wasn't changed. Maybe in the future, I will press that button and then name it Mutual Agreement, the true story. Maybe in the future, I will do that. I would have to get people's consent first. But yeah, I took a lot of things out, changed some. I didn't even give no real names in the first place. But I took a whole bunch of stuff out, changed it around a little bit, made it a little funner. Mutual Agreement is about two friends that are on the down low, the bisexual world, and to get through their relationship, what they decide to do to make their self work. They're past the best friend type thing. They want to make it work. They're older. They can they're getting to an age where people are out there getting married and stuff. We're bisexuals. How do we handle dealing with, we want children, we want marriage, we want, we don't want to be called someone that's promiscuous. Just because you're bisexual don't mean you're promiscuous. You fall in love, you don't want a whole bunch of people touching on your body. That's not true. Just because you're bisexual, that means that. No, you want your own partner, and you want a partner that's just like you, that understands. And usually when you're like that, sometimes you're around others that are just like you, and you fall in love with people that are closest to you. So that's what Mutual Agreement is. Mutual Agreement, the original one, is actually longer than this one. This one is only probably about 40 pages because I had to take out a lot of stuff to make it untrue. Rosary P. Rosary P, I promise, is juicy. Now, that one is a Christmas story, too. I think I wrote that one in December. And if I wrote something in December, it's based off of Christmas. But even though it says Rosary P, I'm telling you, it's very juicy. One thing I can say, it helps you understand even though so much happens to you and you see so much happen to other people, don't lose faith in God. Don't lose. Things happen to people for training reasons. Training reasons. Go through your learnings. Go through your journeys. Keep prayed up. Keep prayed up. Pray for others. And what I find, I know there's a lot of people that want to hate on you and be mean, be your enemy, be horrible. It's really best to not just purposely having enemies. It just, there's no use for it. If you can get out of that, just mind your business. Just tell them to go on. If we're going to be opponents and be enemies, you just go on somewhere. Because I got others that want to be on my side and I want to be on them. Put more of your energy into that, because having a hater, if you could spot it, it's awful when it's close to you, when they're close to you. You gotta let them go, or they'll mess you up. I almost cursed. They will mess you up, and by the time you realize it, it's too late. Now, Rosary P also talks about one of my things when I was younger. It used to scare the heck out of me, and it still does now. Now I'm stronger. I'm older. I'm even a grandma now. I have full control of what can happen to me now. But the most devastating thing that can happen to somebody, and some people don't go through this, but more people than you think go through this, you can have someone that's over you that's supposed to protect you, and they're not really protecting you because they don't know how, and they're also a victim too. That is very scary. That is very scary. Now, when you ride past these little girls that's out there on, let's say, I don't know the track in Chicago. I think I used to. I think they told me what it was in Chicago. Thank goodness I don't know the track in Chicago. You know what I mean? But I hear the one in California starts with an F maybe or whatever. I think I got it. But when you ride past these little girls and they're little girls and they're selling their body in the street, can you imagine those little girls are moms too? Can you imagine? Are they able to protect their child? And where's the dad? How did the dad come apart? Now go through that child's mind with that. That child is going to grow up feeling unprotected. And then that's where anxiety comes from and all types of stuff. And there's a lot of them girls and boys out there getting some money in that way, and a lot of them are parents. So it's not funny. It's not good to shake your head at people, and especially minors out there with that. It's not normal, and it's not supposed to be normal. We have that here, definitely in Chicago. We have that in other suburbs. We have suburbs too. We have that. We have all these sex buses and crimes and so forth, and you have these kids going to jail for selling their bodies, and these kids got kids, and their parents' mindsets isn't right because they don't know how to. They're victims also, and they make kids. Now, I'm not saying, no, my mom was not a prostitute. I was around the situation big time, and I see it. And I think the same way that my mom does. We talked about it all the time. And I try to even talk about it with my own daughter, even when she was small. Just, what was it? I started at when she was about 12, 13. She came back to Illinois. Yeah, so, and then I try to explain the situation with me too. Because, of course, I'm not perfect. So that's what Rosary P talks about. And it will, if you read that, it's going to scare the heck out of you, especially if you can relate to it. And trust and believe, that stuff is happening a lot, First 5 Too Legit. Yeah, I think I explained that one. I took a whole bunch of stories I wrote a long time ago. I made them smaller. I had to, a lot of the pages I had to throw out to make them too close to my life. Because when I was writing them before, I didn't know about all the legal laws and stuff about writing and, and stuff, and having to get signatures and stuff. and I wrote everything, and I still changed up the names, but now with those, I had to take a lot of things out so they don't be too close, and change up some stuff. But they still are some good stuff in there. 5 different stories that are close to my life, and I had to leave a lot of people and other stuff out, names. Emperor Mikey's coloring book, I talked about that. Let me make sure I got all the books. How long we've been talking here? About 25 minutes go by so fast. So I would go through each book that's in there. I have a one out there called Sweet Monster. Sweet Monster. Sweet Monster is actually me. I come across as a monster, but some people think I'm sweet. Most people do. When they get to know me. I mean, I don't know if I look intimidating, but I could tell I come across as a monster at times. Tender Life. Tender Life talks about how easy it is to catch an uncurable disease, falling in love, and so forth. 3 Heads in One, that talks about a woman that has multiple dates. I would say relationships, but they're not relationship dates. What would drive her to have 3 guys in 1 year or a month or so? Where is her head? What is she thinking? How come she's not innocent and only got 1 guy? How come her body count is able to go up? I watched that. I'm gonna have to cut that part out. But Amongst the Grass. Amongst the Grass, back in 2010, that's back when someone met someone online, and they lived in another state, and another one lived in another country, and just putting those 2 together and taking a story and having fun with it. Losing Contact. I should do a part 2 on what happened after losing contact. One, there's still kind of contact, but why they're not talking as much still. But there's quite a few of us meeting people online that we haven't met. We put a story in our head on who they really are, and then when you finally meet them, it's a whole different situation. So I had fun talking about these other books here, and hopefully I got you a little more interested, and you go try it out, read the previews and everything. I got them all published out there. I got Kindle. I don't went after Kobo. I don't went after Google Books itself, Barnes and Nobles and so forth. I'm trying to get those on out, and I really do and can't wait to hear some opinions. Now, I've been hearing some positive stuff. I want some real ones too. Not to say that they're not real. I really can't wait to hear a whole bunch of different comments on this and this and that, because the fun part with me is you never know if you're really talking about me or not, or somebody I know, or I don't have any enemies, but someone I would disagree with, something that they did, or a made-up person did, or a person that almost did something and didn't do it. I want to hear the comment on that, even if it's, oh, would the dork do that, or why would it? And then and then I will be able to also just keep writing and explain why that dork would do that. Because me, no matter if I disagree with a person or not, I try to at least get in their shoes. Try to get in their put myself in their shoes on why would they think that way? Why would they do that? Instead of just pointing fingers and judging, what could they have been through to make them think that way? How did I come across to make them react that certain way? And why they're not understanding why I'm reacting a certain way. Why they don't care. Do they know how to care? Why didn't I care? So that's what that's all about. All right, thanks for listening. Hopefully you got through the whole video, and hopefully this enticed you onto reading those previews, checking it out, and then actually reading a few books, and let me know how you feel. Thank you.